Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the O'Rourke Report, where we go over today's headlines, things that I find interesting or funny, things that I think people are commenting on. I certainly have an opinion on it. So, again, thanks for joining in. Let's dive right in. Okay, first thing I want to go over, it's a little old, but I binged it a couple of weeks ago. The shelter program on Netflix called Selling the OC. I think this one is in its third or fourth season. And the thing that didn't get the headline storyline of this particular season, I think needs more comment, more scrutiny. And this is the storyline where one of the brokers, I believe his name is Sean, he is gay, says that he was approached by one of the straight brokers, a married straight broker, about joining in on a threesome. And the straight broker overreacts over the top. It's the old Shakespearean, methinks you protest too much. And jumping into the fray was another straight broker, a little bit of an F boy, goes in and starts attacking this Sean as well. Gee, guys, not a good look on you. Again, Shakespearean in the way that you overreacted to the accusation was really over the top. Hey guys, this is in the 1950s. This is the 2020s, and there is no shame if somebody's gay. Trying to shame, uh, inferring that Sean was shaming the straight married broker was really not a good look. So if they haven't watched it yet, watch it. The big storyline, I think, is the F boy is go trying to wine and dine one of the female brokers who's not a very likable person. I think her last name is Hall. So they really should have concentrated on the gay storyline. I thought that was my opinion. Okay, other thing I've been wanting to talk about is a kind of a pet peeve thing that I have. And these are people like the Tyler Henrys and the Long Island Medium and the various other ones who are out there who claim that they can communicate with a loved a deceased loved one of yours. I just think these people are the worst emotional vampires in the world. They just feed on your misery. And they're experts at body language. They're experts at reading emotions, and they know how to turn that screw. They know how to keep the shekels coming in. Let's just put it that way. I have always thought that they are, as exactly how I said, emotional vampires. And I just think there should be more scrutiny put on these people. I think it's kind of cringeworthy to see it. My favorite is do we have somebody whose initial is J? You know, why is it you can't say the name right off the bat? You're looking for someone to give you a body indication that they're on the right mark. And as soon as they zoom in on you, they they start pounding away. And I just think they're the worst type of people in the world. I don't know what made me think of these people during the week, but the only type of vampires that are the good vampires are like Nandor on What We Do in the Shadows. Still one of the top comedy shows. If you haven't binged it yet, its fifth and final season is coming up. It's great comedy. You even have Matt Berry in there, who is a British comedy actor. If you've never seen Toast of London on Netflix, I highly recommend it. He's hilarious. He is one of the vampires. He's the lusty vampire. And they have a lot of comedic guest stars like Nick Kroll, who I love. I wish he would do a special every year. So do watch What We Do in the Shadows. Don't watch the Long Island Medium and the Tyler Henrys of the world. Those are the worst type of people that take advantage of heartbroken people. Oof, just terrible. Bad karma. They're the one who's racking it up. Okay, what else do we have here? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, okay. Bridgerton did release their first 4 episodes of their season 3. This is where little Miss Penelope, who was, I'm drawing a blank on the actress's name. I'm sorry. She was in Dairy Girls. If you guys have not seen Dairy Girls, which is set in Dublin during what they call the Troubles, which I believe is the 90s, where they have, all sorts of horrible things going on between the North and the South, between the Protestants and the Catholics. But she was wonderful in Dairy Girl. She's just adorable in Bridgerton. This is her season to be the love interest, and it's really a lot of fun to watch. One of the great things they did, for you out there who watch Bridgerton, they have a color scheme. All the Bridgerton family has these beautiful muted pastels, these blues and light mint greens, and just a beautiful color palette. And the Featheringtons who live across the street, Penelope is a Featherington, are relegated to these harsh jewel tones. And well, this year they tamped down, because you've got to make a Penelope a love interest. They tamped down those horrible jewel tones for her, which in her case were these garish yellows, and gave her a very pleasing palette, and she's really adorable. And it's just the first 4 episodes. I guess the second half of the season will start up in June 13th. So it's a great watch. I think you'll enjoy it. And they fixed the colors. They got rid of the jewel tones, and I'm not a big fan of jewel tones. So anyway, okay. The other thing I thought was just the worst behavior. It just set back women's not rights, but women's place in politics 100 years. Was the really, in my mind, racist comment that came out of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I guess she's a little butthurt that she now has no power left in the Congress. She can't gum up the works anymore. People have kind of, both sides are bipartisan and working against her. Well, she took a swipe at an African American congresswoman, commenting on her false eyelashes. Now, the one thing that I know from watching, Bravo and all the other reality shows that I watch, if they have an African American cast, like Married to Medicine is all African American, Atlanta is all African American with the exclusion of Kim Zolciak, who is no longer on the show. And there's a couple other shows that I watch that are primarily African American. And I learn a lot. I learn a lot. And one of the things I have learned is do not, I think I also learned this from Oprah, do not mess with an African American woman's hair. Just don't comment. It's not your place. And just, stand back and admire the work a lot of these women do with their hair. And now a lot of African American women love the false eyelash. So do white women, but they love the false eyelashes. So commenting on the false eyelashes is the same thing as dissing an African American woman's hair. Don't do it. It's not your place, not even close to your lane. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the fact that you did it tells me that you're just a sassy little racist, aren't you? Thought you'd get away with that. Well, it kind of brought the house down, and it made 3 women because AOC jumped in there. And of course, what does she do? She's from the mean streets of Yorktown Heights, New York, which, spoiler alert, born and raised there. So I know all about the mean streets of Yorktown Heights, New York. Um, she jumps in and says stuff like, "Oh, baby girl." Oh, there's no place for that in the Congress, ladies. And I'm sure, I would hope that the 2 Democrats involved understand how inappropriate it was. You should have just let Marjorie Taylor Greene be the racist that she is. She has no power. She's lost her juice. just I'm sure I'll get a bunch of comments on that. Go right ahead, comment. I'm an independent. I go with the guy who I think is right. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. So anyway, I will say Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the wrong side of the fence with her behavior. It was particularly cringeworthy. So anyway, what do I have next? Ah, yes, I'm going to end with what I'm going to call this this segment called My Unpopular Opinion. And of course, I'm stealing this right from my friend Andy Cohen and Watch What Happens Live. But I do have three things that are my unpopular opinion. And the first one is Ariana on Vanderpump Rules. Ariana, please leave the cast. And let me tell you, the reason I say that is the same reason LVP was on Watch What Happens Live this week, and she was hilarious. And of course, it comes up her tenure on Beverly Hills. And she's very clear. When I've decided I was not going to put up with it, I left. Well, she certainly left. She's absolutely a successful business person on her own. She didn't need the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, nor did she need to do anything further once she decided she was shut with these people. Well, Ariana, you've decided you're shut with half the cast. Why don't you leave? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? You've got all sorts of opportunities now. Uh, Not as vast as LVP's, but you certainly have a lot more opportunities than you ever did 11 years ago. And if you don't want to film with certain members of the cast, well, then leave. Just leave. Please. I'm sure it's my unpopular opinion. Everyone's supposed to rally around Ariana because Tom Sandoval was such a schivo. But yeah, okay. I'm on your side up to a point. Be like LVP. Leave if you don't want to do it. My other unpopular opinion. Of course, you guys know how much I love Craig and Paige. Paige, I would say, has got less than 6 months to stop stringing Craig along. I think people are getting a little sick of it, especially given on her season now of Summer House. She's got an opinion about everybody else's relationship and what they should and shouldn't do. And I think she's wearing a little thin. She's wearing a little thin. So I think she needs to be very careful. She needs to think, and she either needs to fish or cut bait, and she's got less than 6 months to do that. The longer she strings this guy along, the worse it's going to be for her. Same concept, Kyle and Amanda on Summer House, who I now call the original Carl and Lindsay, really need to just terminate this marriage before any children are involved. They need to lawyer up both sides, divvy up however the chips fall in divvying up this $21 million business, which I'm going to venture to say Amanda did not have a hand in as much as Kyle did. Uh, but she certainly had some hand in it, and that should be recognized. Kyle needs to pay her off and get her out of his life because she's miserable. She dislikes him. She lets him know at every turn that she dislikes him. And instead of sitting there and just, letting all that, hate ooze out of her constantly, let's terminate the relationship, make sure there are no children involved. Because once you bring a child into it, then I'm really kind of holding you both accountable for a ruined life, and it's going to be your kids. So, anyway, yeah, Carl and Amanda, please terminate it. You can both be on the show if you want. You can snarl at each other for a whole summer. That's great. Just terminate this pretense of a marriage. So I think that is. Oh, I talked about the eyelashes. Yeah, do not mess with African American women. when it comes to how, you know, they wear their hair or their makeup or their beat or whatever you call it. It's just not. It's just not your lane. Stay out of it. And if you do bring it up as a point of ridicule, as that Marjorie Taylor Greene did, then you need to be called on that. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed the O'Rourke Report. I'm busy always making notes, and I will talk to you soon.